I'm going to Disney World!
Disney parks promise magic around every corner, and nowhere is that promise more tested than at the food carts. You're hot, you're tired, and now you're facing a $14 turkey leg that weighs more than a small child. Is it worth it? Sometimes yes, often no, and occasionally you'll encounter something so baffling you'll wonder if the Imagineers were pranking you. Some items earn their legendary status through genuine deliciousness. Others survive purely on spectacle. We are ranking the 5 worst park foods to stay away from and the 7 that define the Disney dining experience, from the overpriced regrets to the genuine treasures that justify the admission price. Hit subscribe, grab your Mickey ears, and let's take a ride through Disney food. First up, the 5 foods that prove even Disney magic has its limits. When Galaxy's Edge opened in 2019, Disney promised total immersion in the Star Wars universe, including the exotic beverages Luke Skywalker's aunt served back on Tatooine. These plant-based frozen concoctions divide crowds faster than opinions on the sequel trilogy. The blue version hits you with dragon fruit, pineapple, and lime, a combination that reads more like a confused smoothie. The green adds citrus and floral notes to create what many describe as drinking a botanical garden. The texture lands somewhere between chalky and thin, never quite achieving the creamy satisfaction your brain expects. At around $8 for a serving that disappears in minutes, you're paying premium prices for an Instagram prop. Die-hard Star Wars fans try it once for the experience, snap their photos, and quietly return to their Coca-Cola. The flavors aren't terrible, they're just aggressively weird in a way that doesn't translate to repeat purchases. You want this drink to taste like adventure and exotic alien worlds. Instead, it tastes like someone made a smoothie from a health food store's clearance bin and decided, close enough. Disney keeps them around because they're on brand for Batuu, and the novelty factor drives consistent first-time sales, even if those sales rarely become second-time purchases. When nostalgia can't overcome the actual flavor profile, you've got a problem. Pretzels at theme parks should be a guaranteed win. Warm, soft, salty carbs that require minimal effort to execute. The lunching pad in Tomorrowland took that simple formula and asked, what if we made this actively worse by adding false promises? This pretzel has been around for years, capitalizing on stuffed pretzel trends that swept through food culture in the 2010s. The concept is straightforward. Take a soft pretzel and fill it with enough cream cheese to make every bite indulgent. Multiple recent tastings reveal these pretzels often show up underfilled and oddly hard, transforming what should be pillowy into something closer to a dense bread brick with occasional cream cheese sightings. You bite in expecting that satisfying cream cheese hit, and instead you get mostly pretzel with a thin schmear that wouldn't satisfy a bagel. At nearly $10 you're paying for an experience the product doesn't deliver. Disney keeps selling them because filled pretzels remain an easy grab-and-go upsell. People see cream cheese stuffed, and their brains fill in the delicious blanks, assuming Disney wouldn't charge premium prices for subpar execution. Those people are wrong. Pinocchio Village, Haus has occupied valuable real estate in Fantasyland since 1971, serving pizza to exhausted families who just need their kids to eat something recognizable. The regular pizza ranges from acceptable to actually decent. The plant-based cheese version has earned a reputation as the pizza Disney wishes people would forget about, but can't quite eliminate from the menu. Long-running complaints paint a consistent picture: bland sauce that tastes like it came from a can marked tomato adjacent, and cheese that doesn't melt, stretch, or behave like any cheese you've encountered. Past versions earned comparisons to cafeteria pizza, the kind that made you wonder if the lunch staff was punishing you. Disney has tweaked the crust over the years, but the fundamental experience remains underwhelming. The plant-based cheese doesn't brown properly, doesn't provide that satisfying stretch, and leaves a strange coating in your mouth. When you compare this to the genuinely good vegan options available elsewhere on property, This pizza reads like an afterthought from a kitchen that doesn't particularly care about plant-based guests. It exists primarily to check the vegan box at a high-volume, quick-service location where turnover matters more than quality. Disney knows families need fast food options in Fantasyland, and some of those families include vegan members who need something to eat. When your main selling point is "at least it's available," you've already lost the culinary battle. Few foods carry more iconic weight in the Disney universe than Mickey Waffles. That distinctive three-circle silhouette has graced breakfast plates since the park's early days, becoming shorthand for Disney magic and childhood nostalgia. When they're good, fresh off the iron at a sit-down breakfast, they're genuinely delightful. When they're bad, they're a betrayal of everything Mickey Mouse represents. Sit-down restaurants that make Mickey Waffles to order, maintain quality control, and serve them at proper temperature. Quick service and mobile order versions face the logistical nightmare of mass production and holding times, and those waffles suffer accordingly. They emerge from warming drawers, cold, rubbery, and bearing the texture of cardboard someone tried to soften with steam. A Business Insider reporter who ranked Disney's iconic foods received Mickey Waffles that had lost all their structural integrity. The exterior goes from crispy tender to tough chewy, while the interior develops a dense, gummy quality that makes you work to chew through something that should dissolve pleasantly. Add lukewarm syrup and cold butter that won't melt, and you've got a breakfast that costs $12 and tastes like regret. Disney keeps selling them everywhere because the shape does the heavy lifting. Parents see those Mickey ears and want to give their kids the quintessential Disney breakfast experience. Nobody complains loud enough because the failure feels personal. The turkey leg has achieved mythical status in theme park culture, a primal caveman-sized hunk of meat that appears in countless park photos, gripped by sweaty hands and half-eaten by guests who look simultaneously triumphant and overwhelmed. It's been a Disney staple since the 1980s, spawning legends. No, they're not emu legs, despite persistent rumors. And becoming a rite of passage for certain park-goers who view food as conquest. Reviews consistently describe this as Disney's most controversial snack, which is diplomatic language for "a lot of people really hate this thing." The extreme salt hits you first, followed by a smokiness so aggressive it suggests the turkey spent time in a barbecue competition. The meat ranges from acceptably tender to gristly and tough, depending on your luck and how long your particular leg has been circulating in the warming system. Nutrition estimates hover in the 1,000+ calorie range, with sodium levels that would make your doctor weep. This isn't a snack, it's a commitment. You're carrying around a small roasted bird leg through Florida humidity, watching the meat cool and the fat congeal into white streaks that make you question your choices. Most people can't finish them, but throwing away a $15 turkey leg feels wasteful. The turkey leg endures because it's pure spectacle. It photographs well and signals you're the kind of person who doesn't care what anyone thinks. It's memeable content that generates its own marketing. The fact that most people immediately regret eating them is irrelevant to the business model. Now that we've covered the foods to avoid, let's talk about the 7 actually worth your money. Be sure to subscribe and trust me, you'll want to stick around for number 1. When Galaxy's Edge needed a signature handheld food that fit Batu's lived-in aesthetic, Disney created Ronto Roasters and its flagship menu item, a wrap that actually delivers on flavor instead of just Instagram appeal. Available at both Hollywood Studios and Disneyland since 2019, the Ronto wrap represents what happens when Imagineers design food to be legitimately good. Roasted pork shoulder meets grilled sausage inside a soft, pillowy pita, balanced with tangy slaw and peppercorn sauce that provides spicy kick without overwhelming everything. The pork is tender and properly seasoned. The sausage has that satisfying snap when you bite through the casing, and the sauce brings everything together with a creamy, peppery finish. This is genuinely thoughtful food assembly, not just protein shoved into carbs with sauce squirted on top. Reviewers consistently praise the reliability factor. The Ronto wrap tastes good whether you order it at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., whether it's your first visit or your fifth. The breakfast version swaps the pork for scrambled eggs and adds cheese, creating an equally craveable morning option that puts most theme park breakfast sandwiches to shame. At around $15, it doubles as a legitimate light meal rather than an overpriced snack. What makes this wrap work is how well it fits into Batu's world building while remaining accessible to non-Star Wars fans. It's street food that could exist in a working spaceport. Functional, flavorful, fast to eat while plotting your next ride. Disney designed this to be rough around the edges, supremely functional, and more impressive than its humble appearance suggests. The Bengal barbecue stand has been quietly serving some of Disneyland's best quick-service food since 1997, tucked into Adventureland, where the smell of grilled meat draws crowds like a Safari Lodge dinner bell. While other parks pile on gimmicks and themed packaging, Bengal barbecue keeps it simple. Marinated meat on sticks, grilled to order, served hot. The beef and chicken skewers are the stars of the operation, proving that sometimes the best theme park food is just well-seasoned protein cooked properly. The beef skewer comes with a spicy banyan marinade that delivers actual heat and depth, while the chicken gets a sweet savory glaze that caramelizes beautifully on the grill. Both are cooked fresh as you order, ensuring you get meat with proper char, tender texture, and flavors that taste intentionally seasoned rather than accidentally spiced. At around $7 to $8 per skewer, they're one of the better value plays in the park, substantial enough to feel like a meal component and delicious enough to order multiples. What makes Bengal barbecue work is the commitment to doing one thing exceptionally well. No fusion experiments, no Instagram gimmicks, just meat that's been marinated properly and grilled by people who understand how fire works. The portions are generous, the quality stays consistent across visits, and the flavors are bold enough to satisfy without being aggressively weird. Disney keeps this spot running because it fills a crucial gap: guests who want actual food that tastes good without the upcharged theatrics. Sometimes the best theme park experience is standing in Adventureland eating perfectly grilled meat off a stick while planning your next ride. Some Disney foods become legendary through careful planning and market research. Others achieve cult status through pure weird brilliance that nobody saw coming. The Cheeseburger spring rolls at Magic Kingdom's Adventureland cart fall firmly in the second category, a bizarre fusion concept that has no business working, but somehow delivers every single time. These crispy cylinders of American excess appeared around 2013, capitalizing on the spring roll trend while adding a distinctly un-Asian filling: seasoned ground beef and cheese, wrapped tight and fried until golden. The result tastes shockingly, legitimately like a cheeseburger. The beef is properly seasoned, the cheese melts into gooey strings, and the crispy wrapper provides textural contrast that somehow works better than a traditional bun. Lines form at this cart because word spreads fast when something weird is also delicious. They frequently sell out during peak hours, creating an accidental scarcity that only increases their appeal. Recent pricing sat around $9.50 for 2 rolls, which is reasonable by Disney standards for something you'll actually want to finish. The key is eating them fresh, let them cool, and the magic dissipates as the wrapper loses its crispness and the cheese congeals. Disney keeps these on the menu because they photograph beautifully and deliver on taste, creating the perfect storm of social media appeal and actual quality. They're pure novelty that respects your palate instead of insulting it. The cheeseburger spring roll shouldn't exist in any rational culinary universe, but sometimes the weird experiments become the most beloved traditions. Some foods reach such legendary status that discussing them requires acknowledging you're entering sacred territory. The Disneyland corn dog is one of those rare items where the hype is justified and the reality lives up to expectations. Available at the Little Red Wagon on Main Street since 1955, and later at Corn Dog Castle in California Adventure, these represent the platonic ideal of what a corn dog should be. The batter achieves that perfect crisp, tender contrast, crunchy exterior giving way to fluffy interior that hugs the hot dog without being too thick or cakey. The hot dog itself is quality meat with proper snap and flavor, not the mystery tubes that give corn dogs their sketchy reputation. Everything is fried to order, ensuring each corn dog emerges hot, fresh, and structurally sound. When Disney food bloggers call something possibly the best corn dog I've ever had, they're stating the obvious truth that Disneyland figured out this simple food and never compromised. Part of the magic is Disneyland's commitment to maintaining standards that date back to Walt's era. These aren't mass-produced and held under heat lamps. They're made throughout the day in small batches, ensuring consistency and freshness. The corn dogs at Disney World don't quite hit the same heights, suggesting this is a California operation that benefits from local expertise. At around $12, they're not cheap, but they're worth it in a way that most theme park upcharges aren't. You're paying for a corn dog that tastes like someone cares, prepared by people who have been making them the same way for decades. Churros occupy a complicated space in the Disney food hierarchy, split between the legendary Disneyland versions that justify their reputation and the Florida iterations that leave people wondering what all the fuss is about. This ranking reflects the Disneyland gold standard: crispy exterior, tender interior, dusted with cinnamon sugar while still hot enough to smell like heaven from 3 carts away. Disneyland's churros benefit from being fried fresh at the cart, finished on site, and served immediately. You can watch them emerge from the oil, get rolled in sugar, and land in your hand while still crackling with residual heat. The texture is perfect. That satisfying crunch giving way to soft, fluffy dough that melts on your tongue. It's what churros are supposed to be when the people making them care. Florida's versions suffer from logistics and environment. Many WDW churros are prepped elsewhere and held, arriving at the cart already compromised. Florida's humidity doesn't help. Moisture turns crispy exteriors cakey and chewy, while the holding process strips away that fresh fried magic. Exceptions exist at sit-down restaurants and lounges where churros get made closer to service, but the standard park cart experience is noticeably inferior. Disney keeps churros as a signature snack because they're a Southern California tradition dating back to the park's early days, and they provide an easy canvas for seasonal flavors: pumpkin spice, peppermint, birthday cake, whatever marketing decides will photograph well. When executed properly, they're affordable, portable, and genuinely delicious. Some Disney foods become icons through careful engineering and perfect execution. The Mickey Premium Ice Cream Bar is both a simple concept: vanilla ice cream, chocolate shell, mouse-shaped, elevated to perfection through quality ingredients and temperature control. Available everywhere since the 1980s, these bars have fed millions of overheated park guests and generated countless food memories without ever changing their core formula. The magic is in the snap. The chocolate shell cracks cleanly when you bite through it, giving way to smooth, creamy vanilla ice cream that tastes like actual vanilla instead of frozen dairy dessert chemicals. The coating is thick enough to provide satisfying chocolate in every bite, but not so thick it overwhelms the ice cream. The vanilla is simple and pure, letting the chocolate do the flavor heavy lifting while providing creamy contrast. These bars work because they're easy to eat while standing in line, hard to mess up, and massively nostalgic for anyone who grew up visiting the parks. Former cast members and food critics consistently rank them as a classic that deserves its reputation. Disney has even started experimenting with hand-dipped, topped versions, creating premium variations on a product that was already beloved. At around $6, they're relatively affordable by park standards and actually worth the price. They're everywhere: carts, quick service restaurants, resort gift shops, ensuring you're never more than 5 minutes from a Mickey bar when the Florida heat becomes unbearable. Simple equals perfect when the simple thing is executed flawlessly every single time. When people discuss Disney's most iconic foods, one name rises above the rest: Dole Whip. This dairy-free, pineapple-flavored frozen dessert has achieved cult status that transcends theme parks, spawning copycat recipes, entire social media accounts, and lines so long they warrant their own fast-pass discussions. First appearing in the 1980s at Magic Kingdom's Aloha aisle, Dole Whip has evolved from a simple Adventureland treat to a cultural phenomenon. The flavor profile is deceptively simple: bright, tangy pineapple that tastes genuinely fruit-forward instead of artificially sweet. The texture is perfectly smooth, soft serve that melts slowly and evenly, providing cooling relief without turning into soup before you can finish. Being dairy-free means it's lighter than regular ice cream, refreshing rather than heavy, and accessible to guests with dietary restrictions without tasting like a compromise. First-time Dole Whip experiences generate surprisingly consistent reactions. Reporters trying it for the first time frequently describe it as living up to the hype, which is rare for anything with this much advance buzz. Food history pieces trace its rise from regional treat to national obsession, documenting how social media transformed a perfectly good frozen dessert into a must-have experience. Disney offers Dole Whip everywhere now: Magic Kingdom, Polynesian Resort, Disneyland, even some locations outside the parks. Because it's uniquely Disney tropical, photographs beautifully, and satisfies multiple audiences simultaneously. It's Instagram-friendly, allergy-friendly, heat-friendly, and nostalgia-friendly. The portions are generous, the price is reasonable, and the quality stays consistent across locations. When every element aligns perfectly and the hype is actually justified, you've got the best food Disney parks have to offer. Disney food exists in a strange economy where price, nostalgia, and actual quality compete for dominance. The worst offenders trade entirely on spectacle and brand recognition, counting on captive audiences to move products that don't deserve repeat purchases. The best foods earn their legendary status by being genuinely good, reliable, flavorful, and worth seeking out even when cheaper options exist. The rankings reveal clear patterns. Consistency matters more than ambition. Simple foods executed well beat complicated concepts done poorly. The turkey leg survives on pure spectacle, while Dole Whip thrives on delivering exactly what it promises every single time. Hit subscribe if this changed how you'll eat at the parks. And drop a comment telling us which Disney food you think is criminally overrated or tragically underappreciated.